to invite Sri Anuj Bhargava sir to speak a few introductory remarks, inaugural remarks for this session, please.
Thank you, Shri Arishesh ji. It's my pleasure to welcome the speaker for the day. He's indeed been, widely recognized person in this space. I congratulate him on winning the award and finding time to be amongst us. I am grateful that the National Productivity Council now is joining with us more and more in different projects and different talks, and there is significant synergy in sharing and learning from each other on topics of mutual interest. Shri Rangachari ji has actually picked up a very interesting topic, which is on management consulting in results. So he talks about result-based management consulting and the best practices to be followed thereof. So we are all aware that from many years we've had activity-based consulting, which has been part of the CMA profession. We've had different types of management theories. One of the prominent among all consulting strategies has been to manage for results and by results. In consulting space, it has been pretty interesting to note that, at least in my limited experience from the last 15 years, I have engaged in multiple assignments where my payoff or my consulting fees is linked to essentially the result that we are able to deliver. So if an outcome is not met by a particular date, there are penalties in the assignments that we do. However, a lot of users still prefer a fixed price one, and they are pretty flexible in India. So it's interesting to note that this topic has surfaced now. So perhaps it is gaining prominence, and should be very interesting to listen to what has been the experience in this space. With that, I hand over back to Shri Arya Shri and welcome you all to today's meeting.
Kumanduri Rangachari. Sri K.Achari is BTech Mechanical. He is PG Industrial Engineering from National Productivity Council, Fellow of Instyitute of Engineers. He held very senior positions in many prestigious organizations such as ABC Consultants, Indotronics USA, Unique Computing Services USA, Indian Operations, Systems and Re-Engineering Consultants, and Birla Institute of Management Technology, BIMTech, in very senior positions. He has been a member of member on the environment expert panels of United Nations Environment Program, UNEP, and Asian Productivity Organization, APO. He presented quality research papers on different international platforms such as United Nations Environment Program, UNEP, Asian Productivity Organization, etc. He is passionate to speak on sustainable development, waste utilization, energy management, system design, and value engineering. He has provided consulting services to more than 500 industries in and outside India. He is a certified lead assessor, ISO 9000, and executed ISO 9 certification preparedness in many industries. He published a book on value engineering, also produced a video training module on value engineering. He visited many countries, visited on work-related assignments, Hong Kong, Japan, USA, Singapore, Sudan, Germany, Cambodia, Costa Rica, Brazil, Taiwan, Japan, South Korea. His consulting assignments and industrial experience spans to both manufacturing and service sectors units associated with during 50 years of his career in different sectors such as shipping and ports, railways, cement, sugar, paper, steel, textiles, bulk drugs, oil processing, fertilizers, mining and metals, defense, road sector, and general engineering and allied products. Which sector is left over now, sir? Very difficult to identify. He has covered almost entire spectrum of Indian economy. He has he is widely known for his interaction with industry clusters, development projects in the areas of low-cost automation and appropriate technology, development for cost reduction, and profit improvement through improved methods and process and waste reduction in rural industries, informal and unorganized sector. He is the recipient of a National Productivity Champion 2021 award from Asian Productivity Organization for his outstanding contribution to productivity promotion in India through innovative ideas, methodology tools, techniques for productivity improvement. He is also the winner of Indian Circular Economy Award 2021 from FICCI and BIMTech in the not-for-profit category. We have many other details, and you can see his blogs and also his LinkedIn. Sir, thank you very much for your impressive profile and for all your long list of achievements. And we'll be very happy to listen to you now, sir. Thank you very much. Now over to Sri Komanduri Rangachari, sir.
Just to start with, thank you very much, Arishri Garu. When you were reading about me, I started remembering things that I have forgotten. So that reminds me that I have been to some places kind. Good evening to you all, friends. I'm already introduced. I will just share with you on a one-to-one friendly basis. It is not a like a formal conference or a seminar, but whatever little we have done, I have done, and though the topic circulated amongst all members was the best practices, but I have requested Mr. Arishi to remove the best practices part because there is nothing like best practices. Okay, I'm 75 now, and last 50 years after my engineering, I have been into this field. A wide range of opportunities came my way, wide range of subjects, and luckily for me, I think things work well in most of the cases. Well, when there are successes, there are failures too, but successes were more like favoring me. Okay. Well, with that. Coming to consulting is how I have been looking right from beginning, because my primary career was with National Productivity Council, where I worked for close to 25 years, starting with 71 to 94, heading a regional office also at Hyderabad for 8 years, and then due to various reasons, you switch over. Okay, so I changed a couple of places in my career, and my last spell was about 13 years, last 13 years with the Institute of Management Technology as a professor of operations management, and I was also the dean. Now, with this as a background, when I look at consulting, I'm going to share 3 or 4 because time is so short that each is a story by itself when I talk about like consulting practice, but that will give more insight into the way the client sees and the way we see as consultants. Okay. My years of observations have taken me as a consultant from perhaps the worst to the best of the treatments that you get as a consultant. I still remember the days when the client used to insist, used to say that you will be entitled only for a second-class sleeper travel, okay, at whatever shanty guest house you have on one side, and there have been occasions where you find yourself in a 7-star kind of a place, and suddenly with a business class travel, and that too tickets sent in advance by the client. So I had lived between these 2 extremes, and still sometimes, many times this happens even now. Now depends on the worst part happens when I approach the client, okay. And the other side happens when the client wants me. Okay? And naturally, when somebody is wanting, it's always a give and take kind of a situation, that whose need it is kind. Okay? But Well, that apart, uh, so this is to whose need it is. That is primary. Okay, whether I am trying to sell myself to the client or the client wants me. And when it comes to the client needing you or wanting you, uh, you it doesn't happen by advertising yourself, but it is more by the word of mouth. People, good, bad, or ugly, whatever we do in life, I am firm believer that people talk about us, good, bad, or ugly. And it is that talk about people when somebody is talking, negatively or positively about you and your services and how you have provided them. कितने नखरे हैं आपके पता नहीं है, क्या करते हैं, क्या रिजल्ट दिया नहीं दिया, बातें बहुत करते हैं लेकिन काम कुछ नहीं, all kinds of things people say. But that's what happens actually. And we as consultants, we should never forget that people are talking. That's a fundamental thing I always believe. And they are talking based on what you have been doing, not what you have been saying. Okay. And the client always, I'm also a firm believer that my client, if he is happy, he automatically becomes my unpaid salesman. He is the one who is selling and my services. Okay. So that's a firm. Now, that will happen only when I'm providing a value added service. And value added means it is just coincidence that my passion area in all my 5 decades of career has been value engineering, design optimization of products and processes. That has been the mainstay, but I ended up doing many things. Now, how it works, let us, I'll quickly try to come back to the subject that we are here for. The result oriented when we say, see, any client when it comes, I'm taking a case where the client has approached, okay, knowing that you are the guy who do blah, 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 blah kind, and maybe he wants to test you also. Okay, चलो यार पैसे खराब हुए तो हुए, इसको एक बार नाप तो लेते हैं इसको टाइप. Or second thing is, you might be genuinely interested. So I am coming to, first case that I want to share with you. Let me share this one. Are you able to see my screen, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Now I'll quickly go back. See, this is wait. Sorry. I'm just taking you straight. Okay. Now I'm going to share with you one of my experiences with the gears manufacturing unit. Okay, this was the unit is in Madhya Pradesh. I didn't want to put the name here at this stage. Now they were into the OE and replacement market of automobile gears, and one of their main thing was the differential gears that we see, the big boxes between the rear axle, okay, the rear wheels. So the company was facing a problem where they, every manufacturing company has a contracted maximum demand of the electric load connected. And if you cross that, there is a penalty rate. In this particular situation, it was something like a double the normal rate. And they were facing a lot of problem with this. And secondly, because the gear manufacturing unit, the heat treatment process was the major consumer of energy. Okay. Carburizing or hardening and whatever you talk about. It so happened that the chairman happened to attend a seminar that year for quite some time back. I'm talking organized by Philips at Mumbai. And Philips at that point of time had brought up the first set of those smaller tube lights. Now I forgot, before LED, what was that? The efficient, energy efficient tube system. And they offered that if you replace your existing the tube light systems in your factory with our proposed system, then it can save you so much money, and it will have an option of switching on or off every second, third, or fourth light as per your wish, depending on the need in the shop floor. He was very much convinced. He called a meeting, and I happened to be there that time. It just happened to be on some other content. So the chairman sold the idea. He shared with the people. He said, "Look, we will save so much." And at that point of time, in the late 80s, I'm talking, it was like 12 lakh rupees was the total investment proposed by the company. And they said, "We'll replace everything, every lighting system that you have, and it will save you so much." And then, any seller gives you the payback period, all calculations, the rosy part of it. Now, it turned out naturally because chairman is saying something and he has attended seminar. So there got to be a lot of clapping, and there was, of course, a lot of clapping by people, and then suddenly he asked me, I was sitting on the last row because I was not a part of that meeting. So he says, Mr. Chari, what do you say about it? I have invited you just to guide us in this and give us the techno-economics part of it, whether it's worth it. So I just told him one thing. Sir, I have, in my career, I have read and heard and learned something like ABC analysis. Okay. And ABC analysis is for the, inventory management. They use A class item, B class item, C class items. And, C class items are those where you don't have to bother about managing them. But A class needs top level of, close monitoring and managing. So he said, what has got that to do with power? So I said, see, you have, one thing is the lighting part. How many tube lights you have? So he said about 400 tube lights in all the blocks put together. I said, okay, 400 tube lights into 40 watts and, and plus those time the old chokes are another 15 watts or 55 watts per tube light connection into 400. You're talking like about 22 kilowatt load. Okay. He said, yeah, of course, that is quite some. I said, how much do you think you will save? The best that can happen is you don't have tube lights. That's all. Don't even control. The maximum that you will save is 22 kilowatt max, which is not possible because you need some lighting anyway. You want to say only 10%, 12%, 15%. He said, yes, but we know there is scope, whatever we can save. I said, sir, let me share with you one thing, because I have been going around your plant. Let us look at the ABC part of my, even for energy consumption, there are the ABC areas in the organization, which the A class, those which consume the maximum energy out of your total bill, maybe 60, 70%, 80%. There is a B class, which might be consuming another 15, 12, 15%. And there will be C class, which are very rarely used, like maybe just 5%. And to me, it looks like your entire lighting system is a C class of area. They are shocked. How do you say that? So I said, look, you have got here 4 furnaces for heat treatment, carburizing. Each of them is 150 kilowatt load, each of them. So you have here state 600 kilowatt of load in one particular process. Okay. And you are worried about the 22 kilowatt lighting area. Left to myself, I would like to give more light to people than less light, because it makes life very easy. You feel better to work in a properly lit area. So let us not touch that area, but let us concentrate on the A class item. So what is the A class? Now we are talking about a furnace that is 150 kilowatt hours, about 150 kilowatt load, and each cycle is about 23 hours. Okay, it's a continuously used, whereas lights you use only perhaps 8, 10, 12 hours a day. Okay, and here 150 kilowatt into 4 furnaces into 23 hours a day. I say it's taking major. So he said, what do you want to, what are you aiming to say? I said, nothing, I am not aiming. I'm just suggesting that let us concentrate on the A class items. Okay. And I said, can you hold your decision of replacing the lighting system for a week? He said, what are you going to do? I said, nothing. I'm not promising anything, but we as engineers can have a look at what it is. So let us spend some time. Let us not be in a hurry. So he agreed, luckily for me. We started looking. So their demand reason was, their requirement was about 30,000 GS per month was the production target. And with all these 4 furnaces together, non-stop, round the clock, 24 by 7 by 365. They were not able to do more than 22,000 gears per month. At about 8,000 gears, they were offloading to other subcontracting kind. And there was a lot of money. They wanted to even make 30,000. So there was already a plan in place to add a fifth furnace. At one more furnace, one more 150 kilowatt of additional load added, okay, connected. So I says, what is the status of that fifth furnace? He says, well, it's already worked out, any one of these days we are going for that. I said, now, can you also hold that decision for 8, 10, 12 days? Now, this I was talking primarily because of what I have been seeing in the industry before that time. That people have capacity, but they don't know how to use it properly. They don't use it properly, actually. I can make the statement. Okay. So this was planned. Now, while putting the fifth furnace, these people finding one more difficulty. They didn't have space enough in the shop floor. So they have already negotiated with next door industry plot, one area, which they will use on a rental basis, some kind of arrangement, because they can't sell in the industry area. So once this happened, I said, I formed a team of people. I always believe that, the team of internal people of the organization always is the best choice for you. They are your resource points. As a consultant, you are not master of all processes. Maybe you're good at analyzing things. You are good at, like consolidating things, understanding the data, understanding the technology, maybe coming up with some suggestions, carrying out techno-economic evaluation of the alternatives, all that. But you per se don't know heat treatment. And there are people who have spent 20, 25 years in heat treatment. They know what it is. Okay? So a team was formed there. And once we looked into, now these are the kind of gears I'm talking. Bevel gears, differential gears. Okay. Now the present, when you start looking into this, they had a system, the furnace that had that there were 4 columns. There was a, like a holder or, a frame on which 4 columns of the gears are loaded. They are lowered into the furnace. I think there's some background noise somewhere. Please, can you mute yourself? Okay. So coming to this, so they were able to do 4 columns with 21 gears per column. Each batch contained 84 gears. Okay. And that was taken about 23 hours because every heat treatment cycle, it has, you have to raise the temperature at a certain given rate for a particular type of heat treatment. Then there's a soaking period, there's a cooling period, everything was happening. So this was the case when in 23 or let us say roughly 24 hours per day, you are able to make only 84 gears per furnace per day. Okay. Now, coming to this, when you start analyzing, I said, look, 84 is one thing. You are talking from going from 4 furnaces to 5 furnaces, right? That is increasing the production capacity. Very simple. I say, am I sure that I'm already working at the optimum level of the existing capacity? So that is where the technical knowledge comes to our rescue. And so the team was put, and my job was primarily to steer the team and help them in asking right kind of questions. So it turned out the arrangement used to be like in the furnace, you have 1 gear, then there was something, there is another gear, there was a spacer, another spacer, gear, spacer, gear, spacer, gear, and like that. So 21 gears, 20 spacers per column and into 4 columns. Now, this is where the critical analysis and, like challenging round. Unless I'm challenging the existing and having an open mind to hear that and consider and look at that, there's going to be no concrete solution coming. So I said, that's fine. Inside the gear, I have a capacity problem. At existing capacity per box or per furnace, I'm using 21 plus these 20. What is this? He says very simple, which are their spaces. I said, right, your gear is 18 kgs weight each, and your spacer is 7.5 kgs. Am I heat treating the gears or the spacers? But in this process, the way you are doing, you are heat treating both of them together. I don't need to heat treat spacers, 7.5 kg. My primary objective is to heat treat the 18 kg gear. Now, 7.5 over 18, you can imagine how much that is. Just say maybe about 9, 40, 45%. About 45%. Unnecessary additional load I am putting into this system. Just imagine 45% of the required. Of the total, if you take, it will work out to some 7.5 by 25. So whatever percentage it comes. So it's a primary. My value engineering teaches with the primary and secondary functions. So it's a spaces. Why spaces are there inside in the first place? Now, chairman was very interested. He attended the entire process. I just look objectively, I'm saying. So he said, sir, spacer is a spacer. What is there? I say, yes, spacer is a spacer, I know. But suppose, because as in an ideal situation, I don't want anything else other than gears inside the furnace. Very simple, primary. But now you are putting spacers, so why spacer is necessary? Instead, if spacers are not there, the gears touch one to one. This, when the surface is covered, it will not get carburized or heat treated. So we want to space. Okay. Now I said, okay, I know. Space. Now, when you talk about spacing, it depends on how much spacing you are doing. This. So I said, do you know how much is the spacing now? He said, sir, gear is about 84 mm thickness, and spacer is 54 mm. So I said, look, in the capacity existing, you are adding 54 millimeter over 84 millimeter. And that is a huge addition. Because so much space I am not able to use anymore for loading any gear. Because the spacer is occupied. So now here on one side by weight, if you see, you are talking like 40-45%. From space side, if you see, you are talking almost like 60%. Okay. So I say, what? Let us understand why a spacer is required. So, and you have to answer these questions that I am asking. Says, fine. So spacer is, I say, what are you spacing it for? Tell me. You space anything to allow something else to pass through. Okay, very simple. And once you are allowing something, what is that you are allowing? It's a carburizing process. So we put alcohol in the furnace at certain temperature. The alcohol evaporates. The carbon in the alcohol gets deposited on the surface, and that gives the hardness. The carbon embedding on the surface increases the hardness of the surface. Oh, so much explanation. I never knew about heat treatment. So, heat treatment, what I forgot. Okay. So, coming to this point, I say heat treatment. Okay. So, you need to provide space for travel of the vapors, carbon vapors or alcohol vapors. Okay. Fine. And what is the dimension of a vapor? Do you know? अरे हमारी साइकिल पे जरा से सुई चुभ जाती तो पंचर हो जाता है, इतनी सी है. So, how much space you need for transfer of a now, once this happened, they started looking at, oh, man. I said, let us see. A vapor is a vapor. And I don't need 54 mm spacing for the vapor to be allowed to pass through. It is in micron size, mind it, micronic. Okay. And 54 mm is 54 mm. He said, what are you aiming at? I said, I'm aiming at that I want to reduce the spacing. So what will you get out of that? I say, if I keep reduce the space, I will get enough space to load perhaps one more gear in the system. So my 21 column becomes 22 column, 22 gears column. So I would have added perhaps 1 over 20. That is almost like 5% additional space. So would you buy it? Instead of 54 mm, if I make it 53 mm? इसे 1 mm से क्या फर्क पड़ता है? अभी तो यही नहीं पता हमें को 54 है या 55 है, और कर लीजिए साहब. लेकिन 1 mm से क्या होता है? 1 mm per spacer into 20 spacers gives me 20 centimeter, 20 millimeter. Mind it. Okay, I am looking at the total. Is it 54, 53, मैंने कहा 52? बोले 50 तक कर सकते हैं सब, कोई दिक्कत नहीं. They have never questioned this. So 50 तक कर सकते हैं तो कैसे करें? 50 तक कर सकते हैं. 4 into 20 is 80 mm. I'm getting almost one additional gear. I said, supposing 45. So they start looking at 45. कर सकते हैं सब. मैं कहा 40 कर सकते हैं सर. 35. हाँ सर कर सकते हैं. So this is how the shop floor engineers, managers have here. They themselves don't know what they are doing. कर सकते हैं, पर किया क्यों नहीं? So I said fine. I said how about 10 mm? Suddenly, no sir, 10 mm नहीं, 10 mm. I said why? This is 10 mm. सर ऐसा है ना कि गियर हीट होता है अंदर 930 डिग्रीज के करीब, और उस समय बकलिंग हो सकता है. जिस शाफ्ट पे ये माउंटेड है वो झुक सकता है, वो टच हो जाएगा. I says okay, you have problem with 10, okay? How about 11? How about 12? How about 13, 15? So instead of coming from top to bottom, I started going from bottom to top. Okay, and ultimately the side, when I said, sir, about 25 mm tak kar sakte hain sir. I said, look, God, 54 mm comes to 25 mm. That's almost like 30 mm you are reducing roughly. 30 into 20 is 600 millimeters you are reducing, and 600 divided by 84 mm of the gear thickness gives me how many gears? So it's a fine. And overnight, once the chairman said, I said, we'll try. I said, look, this is only idea stage. I am not very sure what happens. That is where, the chairman's involvement or the top level management involvement, this I have seen, in 100 different places. If that level is involved, things are different. But if you leave it to lower level, decisions are never taken, because it involves some finance, some critical decisions which involve finance. This involvement is there. So the chairman immediately said, I'm seeing some scope, I'm ready to take the risk. यार करके देख लेते. मैंने कहा मुझे दोष मत दीजिएगा, मैं सिर्फ क्वेश्चंस पूछ रहा हूँ आपसे. बोले समझ गया, मैं समझ गया आपके क्वेश्चन. I am ready. Let us go ahead. And overnight, sitting in Indore, I was the one, made that first thermocol का pattern बना करके. We redesigned the whole thing, and it turned out that the new spacers were just about 2.5 kgs as compared to 7.5 kgs new spacer. And in this process, because the spacer dimensions were reduced, we could account 28 gears per column, over 28. And lo and behold, friends, that was one of the happiest moments for me in my life. When the next day when the lot was taken, I said, you test the gears for 3-4 more parameters than what you normally test them, because I want to be doubly and triply sure that it is because of this. And the test went through 100% successful. And lo and behold, in this process, what happened was your capacity has gone straight from 21 kg to 28 kgs, or 21 gears to 28 gears. 7 over 21 is exactly 78 keys. Okay, at the 3 by whatever that is, percentage wise about 33. Okay, 1/3. Okay, now 1/3 goes. Now you are planning from 4 furnaces to 5 furnaces. Now these 4 furnaces give you an additional 33% capacity. Just imagine. So you are getting more than one furnace. So your furnace. And this whole exercise went, and on the third day, I remember, the chairman called the general manager. He says, Joshi ji, cancel that order and hold that decision. No more. We don't need any more the fifth furnace. Just lo and behold, what kind of results can come only when the top management is involved. Left to the junior level, this decision would never have been taken कि भाई नया गैस स्पेसर बना लेते हैं, क्योंकि ट्रेडिशनल चला आ रहा है. 50 साल से कंपनी चल रही है. दादाजी ने वही किया था, पापा जी ने वही किया था, मैं भी वही कर रहा हूँ, बेटा भी वही करेगा. Nobody questions. Okay, and what is required is basic, fundamental questioning. Now, once this was done, fine. You are already created an additional and added advantage, friend, was my dead loss has come down by almost 75 to 25, almost one third. Okay, 66, two-thirds of the dead load of the spacers has been reduced. So my heat efficiency, the thermal efficiency of the entire system goes high better anyway. And once this was done, the detailed calculation turned out that the bonus point in this entire thing, apart from creating additional capacity, was the per batch consumption of electricity, equivalent batch of 84 had come down from was 1650 to about 1260 degrees units. Okay, at 1650 and 1260, just imagine what the wide gap between, almost close to 400 over 16. That's 25% approx reduction in your specific energy consumption itself. That's added, and you are paying in the penalty zone. Now, this was good. They immediately implemented it. They go ahead, change all the formats. But I said, hold, let us go further. You don't stop the exercise here. Okay, you are doing this very good. Let us see the next stage. Now, looking at again, what we have to do, then I said, look, you want to gauge the entire cycle that you are using. You are loading the gears, raising the temperature to 930 degrees, retaining it for 8 hours, cooling it down. Why are you cooling down the entire thing? This is questioning, and you have to answer me. Okay. He said, what is the answer? I said, I don't know the answer, mind it. Right on the first day I told you, I know only questions. I don't know answers. Answers you have to give me. I am challenging you that what you are doing, whether you know what you are doing. And if you can answer those questions, I think that has happened with all my, couple hundreds of the projects that I have did in my life, luckily. Now, you see, your need is only like 84 into 18 gears, like 1,500 kgs to be heat treated. But what you are in turn doing is 600 kgs of spacers, and furnace shell itself is 500 kgs, 500 kgs of load, the loading fixture, and 15,000 kgs of brickwork. The entire set in every batch, you are, bringing it down to the, almost ambient temperature, raising this, doing everything, and again cooling the entire thing. I say my requirement is to cool only the gears, not the entire furnace. Very simple. So, okay, cut along. Then the second challenging area was, I said, this is your heating cycle. Okay. And I said, all the metallurgy that I studied in my engineering college up to my 4th, 5th year of engineering. Okay, it only tells, yes, whatever temperatures are there, it is mass into temperature, is your total energy and all that, blah, 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 fundamental. Now, I started questioning. I said, you are raising the entire mass to 930 degrees centigrade. Why? Can you explain? I want explanation. He said, 930, ऐसे ही कर रहे हैं सब शुरू से. मैंने कहा शुरू से की बात है, आज से की बात कर. Now that if crazy guy like Chari has come, he is asking the questions. Why? Why not? So this is 930. I said, what is this 930? Why 930? So one of those guys, who was a little more metallurgist by nature or by quantity, he said, sir, there is something called a critical temperature, Chari sir. Beyond that, only the heat treatment, the, molecular structure of the steel changes, and, the characteristics and the quality of steel changes. I said, okay. And what is the critical temperature of this steel that you are using? Total blank. None of the about 30 participating engineers in that entire company knew what it is. And we had to go through research where I had taken them around engineering colleges in Indore that time, talking to the metallurgy people, metallurgy professors, everything. And it turned out that for this kind of a steel, actually 870 degrees centigrade is the critical temperature, after which the structural changes in steel take place. But then, due to some odd reason, 930 was fixed up. I said, look, what you need is 870, and you are raising it up to 930, so it's got 929 kar le gaya. Now they don't have choice. बोले एक डिग्री क्या फर्क, हमें तो यही नहीं पता कि 930 है कि नहीं सर, तो 1 2 4 5 डिग्री से कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. I go, okay, 920, 910, 900, 890, 880, 871. नहीं सब इतना क्लोज मत रखिए साहब, तो मुश्किल हो जाएगा. अरे यार कुछ तो बात करो ना यार. यू आर टॉकिंग 60 डिग्री मार्जिन. समय लेट अस बी सेंसिबल. 10 डिग्री, 12 डिग्री, 15 डिग्री, 16 डिग्री, इतना तो मैं नहीं अलाउ करूंगा. एंड वेल इट टर्न्ड आउट, they started the entire thing. The cycle time came down, and too many things happened, too many details. Now, the crux was, I said, look, we in the existing case 4, we have taken 21 gears to 28 capacity in the vertical column. Let us look at plan. So plan में देखा, because there were only 4. If you look at this, wait. Yeah, we were using 4 columns, 21 gears, which we changed to 28 gears per column into 4. And now the same thing. I said, look, we talked about capacity enhancement. Now, what do we see? If you look at plan, the central portion was missing. And suddenly one of them, because they have seen the result now, says, sir, we are using only 4 columns, central place is there, and as per the drawing, there is enough space in the center where I can load one more column. So your 4 automatically becomes 5. So 21 into 4 becomes 28 into 5. Just imagine the capacity enhancement options possibility. Now, when this happened, the next, once they started looking into that, the dynamics and the synergy started. And then somebody was good at drawing. He says, sir, why are we putting these 4 columns at 90 degrees? Because this is the dimension of the gear, this is the diameter of the furnace. And as per the drawings, I think instead of 90 degree, we can put it at 60 degrees. And we can accommodate 7 columns per gear. Wow, just imagine. What are we talking about? The potential for capacity utilizing the existing system itself goes high from 21 into 4 to 28 into 7. God bless. At this point of time, the decision making comes, somebody has to do, and people get offended. Actually, we have to be very careful as consultants. I cannot afford, like offending anybody in the organization, because that, starts getting into a negative right. So we must honor all their experience, all everything. We don't have to tell them that, look, you are doing wrong or you don't know kind. You know everything, but you never thought because you are busy with your works. But here, I don't have any work. I'm being paid for coming here and asking questions. So that is the advantage with me as a consultant. So please let us work together. Nobody is right or wrong here. So that part of the HR has to be handled very, very, very carefully in these consulting assignments. I cannot afford offending anybody in the organization. We must give due respect to their experience and them. So while this was happening, it turned out that somebody, once who has a feeling that guilty conscience, no, sir, we cannot, go to 7 columns as you are saying. The total load will go to, he has done his calculation, 5.5 tons, and my, what is it, crane capacity is only 3.5 tons. I said, if economics tells me I will change the crane, I don't mind. I'll put up. He said, but the columns are also designed for 3.5 tons. I said, I will change the building. Show me the economics. Because every time I'm trying to do something, if I invest 1 rupee or spend 1 rupee, am I going to get back 1.5 or more? Simple logic. So you tell me that if you convert from this 4 into 21 to 7 into 28, what is the net gain that you will have, net energy consumption, net capacity, all costs put together, and whether the investment required, even if it is 25 lakh. At this point, the chairman came forward. He said, Mr. Chari, I have done all calculations. I am ready to spend that kind of money. I will bring down all the, entire columns. Pillars I'll raise parallel to them without hampering the capacity. And we will do that because I'm convinced. Now, that is what it happens, starting from a tube light, and I said, now, once I'm saving so much, I don't mind giving you 400 more tube lights, Mr. Chairman. Let people be happy that them work in a brighter space than a darker space. So, if I save 100 somewhere, I don't mind spending 10, 15 for a betterment in the system. But you have to show money to the people first and then talk about sharing. And save and share has been the pattern of my consulting also. I believe in first, show them money, they can count overnight. And then once they have 100 rupees because of me, they normally don't mind giving me 30. And that's only 1 year saving. The rest is perennial saving for them, for the company. Well, I'm just stopping sharing this file with you. Now, the second, a similar thing happened way back. We are all, I think I'm sitting in Hyderabad. I don't know, quite a few of you might be in Hyderabad. This was a case of, earlier there was a company called Satyam GE, which later became, the Satyam collaboration went, it's only GE Power on SP Road, Secunderabad. It was the year 2002-3, I remember sometime. And I got a call. I was working in energy efficiency area, so they wanted energy audit to be done. So I gave my quote also because I was freelancing at that time. And I was called, this another scenario where how the organization of the client look at it. The president that time, Mr. Goyal, and Mr. Deepak Dover was finance set. They called me for a meeting. And one simple question they asked is, Mr. Chari, why do you think we should give this assignment to you? I said, that's not a question. You decide because you are deciding, you are paying. So you decide whether it could give it to me or not. But why are you asking? He said, look, we have got 3 quotations. There is a party A which has quoted 12,000 rupees for this. There is party B which has quoted 18,000 for this. And your quote is 1.2 lakhs. So we just want to know why. I said, I don't see logic in that question. I said, just call the 12,000 rupees guy and give him, yeah. Why are you calling me and wasting your time and my time? Very simple. If that is the logic. He said, no, but we wanted to find. I said, what do you want to find? We have heard that your service, vagara, vagara. I said, then if you have heard about service and if you believe me, then pay me what I want. Very simple logic. Otherwise, call those people. So he said, nahi, isko kaam kar do, 1.2, can we negotiate? Can we round it off? I said, round off to 2 or 1? He said, no, naturally, 1. I say, yaar, ye dekho, naaptol ye mat karo. So, no negotiation, nothing. I'm giving you a counter offer, I said. And he said, nobody else will give that offer. I say, don't pay me anything upfront. Fine. Let me work. I will show you the results. You can meter it. You can count the meter at the savings in terms of, it starts from next day. And then you calculate back and give it 30% of 1 year of your total savings accrued because of my service. If I don't show anything, if I don't save anything, don't pay me anything. If I save you 100 rupees, pay me 30. If I save you 1 crore, pay me 30 lakhs. What is wrong? They said, that sounds good. Huh? So like, go ahead. So in 2 weeks, I demonstrated, did so many things. Any one of you interested, I can individually share it with you, the details, not now. But after working for 2 weeks, I said, now I'm in a position, these changes have been made, and now let us run. The next month bill, straight away, the previous bills were in the 9.5 lakhs, 9 lakhs to 9.5 lakhs per month. And that suddenly came down to 6.5 lakhs. So they said, "Ye to acha hai." Maine kaha, no. See, I'm a consultant. I might be smart. I might have played with figures. But I have controlled this during this period. Now, what I want is let your people operate the entire system in the under their own control. And let us talk about after 2 months, because by that time it will stabilize. And whatever are your bills at that point of time, we'll calculate back my fee. I'm ready to wait. And for the next 2 months, they calculated it was averaging almost about 6.5 lakhs, worked well. So now I said, look, 3 lakhs per month saving into 12 months is 26 lakhs, and 30% of that comes to about 10 lakhs. Okay. Give me. No problem ho jayegi and all that kind. I said, what do you want? He said, can we agree to your original quote of 1.2 lakhs? Okay. I said, fine, give me. And I don't have any problem because I have worked only 1/3 of the time anyway. Okay. So now this happened, but I started with a statement that a happy client becomes your salesman, free salesman. This happened with me in this case, and subsequently in the next few years, this same organization, the same people, they got me 5 additional projects. They recommended mine. So whatever little I didn't lose actually anything. Okay, the opportunity was there. I could have earned, but I didn't. Okay. But that's what it had, and that entire report is there. Anyone of you helping? Then again, I found even GE Power kind US-based company can do such such things unimaginable. I don't want to use the other simpler words, but they can also bugger up as much as I can. Okay? They are also human beings. Now, I'll just share with you one third kind of that oriented. I said I have a series of them actually, but the good one. This was about a steel company, the Bhilai steel plant way back. It was through one of my value engineering training programs I used to do. And first time in my career, the Bhilai steel plant, they called me asking me to conduct a program for them on value engineering. So I went to Bhilai, talked to people and all that. Finally, after listening, they said, "Kya karna hai?" They said, "हमें 2 दिन का training program कर दीजिए." So something happened in my mind. I said, "I'm sorry, I can't conduct." He said, "What?" I said, "Yeah, I won't conduct training programs." He says, "यार, normally तुम भीख मांगने आते हो हमसे. This is the first time when we have invited you, we have requested you, and you are saying, no, what is this?" I said, "There's a reason in what I'm saying. Because over years of my experience with trading, I know value engineering is one such beautiful management tool where you can start counting the savings next day morning. You don't have to wait for a month, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. Just implement it." And all such exercises I have done in the past, they die down in the training hall itself. The students, the participants have beautiful ideas, but they never get implemented because the decision for implementing lies in the higher levels. Now, that is the reason why I'm saying I don't want to waste my time and get more disappointed. I'm already much disappointed. So that's why. He said, "ये क्या तरीका है? क्या करना क्या है?" If you want, I'll conduct a 3-tier training program. And that was the first time even I thought about what is the 3-tier. I never knew what I'm talking. So eventually it was working, and I said, "Look, there are 3 tiers in the management. The shop floor level, up to in even E8 system that time, even to E4, they are more operating the shop level operations every day to day. So these are the people who are facing the problem. They have beautiful ideas. They are fresh from the colleges and with little experience, enthusiastic, but they can't change things on their own. This changing things lies in the 2nd tier. That is the senior management group, the senior managers, deputy general managers, additional general managers level, who have some powers vested in them to take risks or to say, okay, go ahead, guys, I'm ready. We can spend a lakh of rupees. And this lakh of rupees will be finally sanctioned by the top tier. That is the managing director or the executive director who have the financial powers with them. But before asking those people to take a risk with 10 lakhs or 5 lakhs or 1 lakh, I have to be concretely putting up a proposal to them, a techno-economically feasible idea at least, because they are only ideas when you change. So I said, no, do you think MD of Bhilai Steel Plant will attend your training program? He would rather go to Washington or Moscow or Paris or something. I said, fine, I came back. I sent back a letter thanking them for everything and repeated my 3-tier approach there with a copy to the managing director. I was called back once more to Bhilai. MD says, it was a very pleasant moment when MD says, I wanted to see that man who wants me to attend his training program. That's why. And well, the 2 days of my contract, friends, it is again long story, it is documented. It's available on my blog also. I'll share with you later. The challenge was, they were consuming about 22 kgs of ferromanganese in steel melting. Okay. And they were making 1.2 million tons of steel with that process, with 22 kgs per ton of consumption. Now they had set committees to bring it down to 20. And that was one of the projects. And when I challenged them, I said, the teams are formed. I'm repeating, it's good to form internal teams because they know their subject better. I don't know steel making, but I perhaps know the right kind of questions that I can ask, okay, as a consultant. So this is why, and they couldn't succeed. They couldn't bring the 22 kg level to 20 kg level. And then it turned out as why are you putting 20 as target? Because if I want to reduce something, I'll say 0. Don't use it, yeah, simple. Sara ka sara bach jayega. They say, no, that we can't do. If you don't add ferromanganese, the hardness of the steel will change, blah, blah. I said, now talk about that. So now you must tell me how much of ferromanganese really you need. They said, actually, TISCO is using similar process. But they are managing the 18 kgs per ton. I said, then that is the benchmark there already. And well, friends, between you openly, I want to confess one thing and I'm sharing it. I never believe any benchmarks, friends, because I firmly believe that even the best can be better. It's only how much we are prepared, okay, and how much opportunity is coming our way, how much cooperative the organizations are there. So anyway, because that was available to me, I said, I don't even take that. Let us calculate back. Can you tell me in your final steel how much equivalent of the manganese is getting from this ferromanganese of 22 kgs? When they did basic calculations after sampling, it turned out the manganese content equivalent of only 1.5 kgs of ferromanganese was finally getting into their steel. I said, look, that is the gap I'm looking at, 22 kgs to 1.5 kgs. I really need only 1.5 kgs, but I'm consuming 22 kgs, mind it. That's the gap. My benchmark should be 1.5, not even 18. Forget about TISCO. And then नहीं इतना तो क्लोज कंट्रोल नहीं हो सकता. मैंने कहा यार 22 का 21, 20, 19, 18, 16, 17, 15 कुछ तो बात करो यार. 1.5 की बात मत करो. 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 5 इधर से चलो ना, उधर से क्यों आते हो? Anyway, too many things happened, friends. A long story to cut it short. When finally the idea was there, that is where the 3-tier really worked. I trained the first tier half-a-day orientation program. Then for the second tier, that is senior management group, a 2 days appreciation program on how value engineering can help them, how consultancy can help them, and what will be their role. And third was the working group, which was, and my 2 days of assignment that they asked for 2 days of training program actually ended up to 30 days of my engagement with the company. Now, when it came up and the idea was thrown, explained, I still remember Mr. Mitra, his name I don't know. So he was the MD. He said, Mr. Chari, I am taking this risk of 12 lakh rupees. If what my team, you made them speak. So if my team fails, I'm going to lose 12 lakh rupees. but still I'm ready to take this decision. I said, what? Risk? I said, I'm looking at the potential savings. If it fails, it's only one-time investment for me, 12 lakh rupees gone, I don't care. But if it succeeds, I'm going to save 1.5 crores per year for the rest of the life of this product. So that is the statistical probabilistic decision-making level. One time, he asked the team, he said, how much, what is your confidence level? The team said, sir, almost 95%. Because we have been making different steels. So our experiential gut feeling is it should work. It's about why are you leaving that 5%? Is it because nobody else has done it? Neither Russians have done it, nor Disco has done it, nor anybody. So we don't know. But our gut feeling says perhaps. And we, as organizations, we must give our people those chances, those opportunities to prove themselves. And it worked. And friends, I'm very happy. When the idea came, the chairman said, we did 9 ladles of 250 tons each. Each ladle is 250 tons. 9 ladle is the statistical thing. If you want to try anything, so 2,250 tons of steel you have to try. I said, Mr. Chari, I want you, don't worry about your money, about your consulting fee, but I want you to present when we are experimenting this. I said, why do you want me, sir? Your people are confident. They said they are doing. He said, no, I want the doctor to see his patient dying. He was so sure that the experiment will fail. And lo and behold, friends, we could demonstrate 9.8 kgs per ton. Perfect steel on all about 16, 17 parameters we tested. And, nobody believed, but it was there. The results were there. After testing, nothing happened. Beautiful steel you get. And then he said, no, Mr. Hari, few more days of your knowledge. I said, what? I said, I want to make another 10,000 tons of steel in your presence. I said, good. जब 2,500 निकल गया तो 10,000 भी निकल गया. And well, this research, this paper was presented over half a dozen conferences, at least I know. Okay, about. But this is what happens when you have a confidence level and you get luckily you get a good client who is ready to take the risk, on your say. Well, there are so many things, friends, I want to share, but time is a constraint. Oh my, we have already crossed 19. Professor Arishni, I don't know, it looks to me that I have just started, but we are done. And,
no problem, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now we can have some questions, sir.
Sure. If I can answer, yes. I told you, I'm repeating. I have the right to ask questions, but not necessarily answer them. Okay, yeah. Anyone, you may please, or you can get my mail ID from Arishni Garu, and we can communicate. If you have anything, you can just send me a mail also. I'll be happy to share whatever little I know.
Sir, we have a question from Dr. UK Srivastava.
Yeah.
Says, Chari sir, we are paid our consultancy fee in installments based on the milestones. Therefore, I suppose we are paid by results.
So milestones are again like results. How do you decide the milestones? Like in my case, there were no milestones. There was a dead end. I said, I was prepared to wait till the end and show them the result and then charge money. But as I remember, Anuj also was saying about same thing, like you have milestones, you pay by that. So milestones have to be, properly defined in one place. And I must have, now let me one thing share here, friends. All the confidence that I perhaps have little today, all the credit goes to my learned colleagues, the team that I had. Because I used to go to a client based on the strength of my team. I just, this guy is good in this guy is good in this guy is good in this. So let me sell that. My job as a regional director was to go back to the client and say, yes, I can do this for you. Because back of my mind was Mr. X is there. Very simple things. I don't know, you are talking like particularly the IT kind of projects. not the other manufacturing consulting. I have not seen these kind of milestones, but they laid out. But it's a standard procedure. You have to beat the milestones, and before you sign the document, you be very clear whether you are capable or you are competent enough to reach those milestones in that time, and you have the required expertise in your team. Just blindly committing to something and then drawing up a blank face is always better perhaps to say no right in the beginning.
Yes.
That is not possible.
Sir, there are cases where we have Harshal has a question for you. Harshal is a question, and he asks.
हर्षल जरा अपना वीडियो ऑन कर लो ना यार, तो दिखेगा मुझे भी.
So what are the factors or criteria need to be considered from while creating internal teams, as success or failure of a project depend upon them?
Can you just repeat it once? Sorry.
How to, what is the criteria you should adopt to identify the right person for the right job with internal teams?
Okay. I don't know the criteria, but when you are working in a team, particularly if you are the boss of the team, I think the basic minimum required is that the boss should know everything about the strengths of his team.
Yes.
And that comes only a continuous association, interaction with them. I can't be sitting in my AC room and expecting others to carry on. I'll just share with you, sir, if time permitted. There was case like I had one class consultant who was, known as a OR expert, operations research modeling. And he used to talk everything. And I said, are you sure? He said, yes, Charlie, I think given a chance, I can share. And this guy, Charlie, knowing that his strength, because I knew he's too good in modeling, OR modeling, I straight away walk into BHEL Ramchandrapur. Okay, and talk to people about that employee transportation system. And that was the time, I said, look, you are transporting people. There's a beautiful transportation model in OR that optimizes and minimizes the total movement, and it can save so much of movement, blah, 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 blah. And, immediately it attracted the BHL, the HR department. They say, yes, we have. At that point of time, they were using 83, it was quite some time back. They were using 83 buses hired from APSRTC to carry, transport all their employees in all the 3 shifts. Okay. And once the OR modeling was done, it was almost like a month and a half kind job. At that time, computers were not so fast as we have today. So you have to run an OR model inside, optimize it. And after a month and a half time, we physically demonstrated to them that they can manage the entire thing with 65 buses instead of 83. Demonstrated. Because they wanted us to run the system and show not calculations. And you can imagine that is the kind of scope. If a man is strong, he was very confident. Mr. Y.R. Prasad, if any one of you is interested in talking about OR modeling and all, you can still talk. I know that he is still active. Okay. So these are the kind of, I got to know the strength of my team members.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much, Acharya.
Okay, sir.
We have one more question. Any question? No, there are no questions, sir. No, there are no questions. There were messages. And we
okay, one thing. On this slide, let me share one more thing quickly. This I'm sharing about Midani in Hyderabad. And there was a class case, Mr. K.K. Sinha, when he was CMD long time back. They had 5 forklift trucks for moving the work in progress from one shop to other shop, everything. And as it happens in all organizations, you always need one more. So there was already a pending demand for 3 more forklift trucks for this work in progress movement from shop to shop. And at that time, if I remember figures correct, each of these trucks was 50 lakh rupees. He had 1.5 crores investment with 3 more employees to operate them in 3 shifts, means 4 employees additional, that kind. So calculation that was another time when use the real OR modeling there. And every time it was demonstration. I said we are confident that we can demonstrate what we are talking. And Mr. Sinha allowed us to do that. And after about a month, we operated the system for 2 weeks, planned it and calculated for 2 weeks, then operate for 2 weeks. And we said not only that you don't need those additional 3 trucks, but 1 out of the existing 5 trucks is spare now for you, and you can manage the entire thing with 4 trucks. And this is how you manage.
Very good. Very good.
So these kind of things, I feel thrilled about actually.
I understand. Yes. Any more questions, sir?
And last one sentence, I say all these that I have been sharing with you, sir, these assignments have given me the multiplier effect in the market. Each one of these organizations, their CEOs, their chief, they became, my marketing. They were
Brand
talking.
ambassadors.
So that is what happens. Everybody is worried about. So if you are doing good, they will talk good. If you are very good, they might talk to only 1. But if you are bad, they will talk up to 10.
Yes.
Anyway, nice. So if that is all, I would also like to thank IMCI in the top place, Mr. Anuj Bhargava and his entire team, and Dr. Arishri for giving me, thinking about involving me in this entire thing, and all the friends, Mr.
Our privilege.
Uh,
Given us time, we are thankful. Can
So
there's a
I'm done. No more from me.
vote of thanks.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Chari. It was absolutely amazing to have you with us and learn the insights. We are living in a knowledge economy or knowledge era, but insights are very less in spite of the huge knowledge available. So you brought the insightful nuggets for us from your experience, the anecdotes, everything was awesomely placed. I understand. I can see your enthusiasm, sharing so much you wanted to share, and thank you so much, sir. And I'd like to thank Anuj Bhargavji for his opening remarks because he always set the context in a way that relates to us. That is his specialization, and Dr. Arya Shriji for bringing such a wonderful speaker, and each one of the consultants who were there, who have shared their thoughts, and they were very thankful to Mr. Chari for his insightful presentation. And the Bombay team, the secretary, Mr. Praveen, and the rest of the team who has been kind to stay all along and work with us. Thank you so much for the opportunity, each one of you. Have a wonderful, pleasant Friday and fantastic weekend. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all. Bye.